Why is everyone suddenly hating Indians? After all, Indian community is around 1 to 1.5% of the United States population, and it pays close to 6 to 6.5% of the United States tax base. When somebody is punching above their weight, why this sudden hatred? And is it organized? Is it something that is coming from the heart? I'm going to take a look at it very objectively. I've been an American citizen for many, many years now. I was born in India. I'm just saying all these things for those of you who are watching this for the first time, because you need to take a look at this in a cool, dispassionate way rather than ranting with other people. Yes, some of you may have lost your jobs because of those jobs going to H1B based employees. Yes, some of you lost your lifestyle a little bit. You had to readjust. But there are also other people, there are other reasons, and there are other things that are happening that you are not willing to look at. I'm going to try and open your eyes to the world around us. And this is what you need to look, rather than just going on social media and ranting. It doesn't help anyone. In fact, at the end of the day, even if the H1Bs go home, actually this is going to be even worse situation for America and Americans. And I'm going to prove that to you in this video. So watch till the end. And viewers, if you have not liked this video, please like this video already. And we're going to jump into a small slide deck. I'm just going to trace one thread of conversation on X, because this is just a snapshot into the thoughts that are going through people's minds. But let me try and take a step back. Once you see these comments, then I'll tell you what is happening in the background and what is coming down the pipeline that's going to be actually much, much worse for Americans. Here we go.
𝗣𝗽𝗲𝗻𝗂 saved my life. This place is the best in the world. It's so professional, kind, gentle. It's absolutely, really the best.
I came here with some brain fog and cured me, and this place is blessed by God. May God shower more grace on 𝗣𝗽𝗲𝗻𝗂.
Why suddenly everyone is hating Indians? You've seen this on social media. See, what happens is, it happens on social media, and suddenly in checkout counters or in public places, you're going to have people yell and scream at you. Sometimes they even take a rod or a physical object to try and beat you. This has been happening for way too long. There's always somebody you want to blame for your misfortune or your troubles, and this is something that has been there for a long time. Okay, I'm not going to say that this is wrong today. It's been there before. But take a look at who you are taking aim at and how they have actually subsidized your lifestyle so that you can continue living your life of luxury while somebody else was willing to do the work for a fraction of the cost. This is basically a price arbitrage. Let's just take a simple example, viewers. You want to buy something. What do you do these days? Most likely you're going to go to Amazon, look up that product category, and find out what are the products that are on sale, then read their reviews. Then you come up with a value proposition, something that has good reviews for the most part and has a good price. But the decider in most cases is the price, which means you are going to buy the cheapest product available in the market. It's the same thing that happens when people are looking to see if they can get a job done. And if they can get that job done cheaply, then they are going to use that means. And this is just a way of water going from a higher level to a lower level. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And if you don't do that, there are very big consequences. And we'll come to that in just a moment. Let's take a look at this one thread. Here is a guy, 𝗫𝗫 Escobar. Escobar sounds Hispanic. It's okay, it doesn't matter. It could be Portuguese, it could be European, whoever. We have too many H1B Indians in America. The only solution is to end the H1B program and deport the Indians. We don't care about their fake American dream sob stories. They have the huge country of India. They can make India great again without American resources and companies. They can do all that and more, and they are doing that. It's you who is benefiting from lower wages. Let me give an example. I did this thing on another program. I'm just going to cut this thing out so that you can give you a contrast. Meta, the revenue per employee on records, if you go to finance.google.com or just Google revenue per employee for Meta, and you will see that Meta's revenues are $2.6 million per employee. Really? Every employee in Meta is contributing $2.6 million? Take a look at Procter & Gamble, a little bit more established brick and mortar company. We use a lot of their products, continue to use a lot of their products. You know what the revenue per employee there is? It is $776,898 per year, or 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗍𝗡 per year. More realistic than that. But both of these companies, what they are probably doing is they are only counting for the employee, just so that there's a revenue and there is the number of employees on the denominator. If you want to make this ratio look higher, what do? You try to shrink the number of employees. What do? They show only the permanent employees as the employees in the denominator, not the total number of employees. As an example, if you take a look at Google, I've done this research some time ago. It might be a little bit off here or there, but I'm willing to bet that I'm not very far off the mark. It's about 50%. 50% of the people working in Google are consultants. They are not counted as full-time employees. And if you actually adjust it, because the revenue is coming from the work of both the full-time employees and the consultants, if you adjust it for the real number of people working at Google, or let's say Meta, then what does the number now say? It comes down from 2.6 to $1.3 million per employee. Guess what that will do to the stock market? Why are all these Magnificent Seven stocks enjoying sky-high valuations? It's because they are continuing to show, especially you compare with a bricks and mortar store like Procter & Gamble, which has very established line of products, which has been profitable for many decades. They say, oh, we are out there, we are the boundaries. This is all sleight of hand, okay? And in this consultant thing, H1B also comes as a consultant. So now you understand how by keeping these revenues per employee number high, these companies look very attractive to you to invest in the stock market. And when you do that, you feel rich. Of course, you could also sell their stock and make the money also. Nobody stops you from doing that. Now imagine if reality were to strike here. In fact, the California state tried to fix this thing a few years ago by passing legislations like the duck principle, right? If you walk like a duck, you quack like a duck, you must be a duck. So what they said was, any consultant who is working for 30 hours or more per week at a company shall be treated on par with the full-time employees. This law was passed in California. Then what happened? There was a loophole there. The loophole was who is defined to be a full-time employee. What they found out was that if the manager for whom this consultant works for is not doing his evaluation, then this person does not come under the law. So what happens now? Every consultant, they are all not being evaluated for performance by the person for whom they are working. When they are working 40-hour days, perhaps more than that, they probably work 48, 50 hours and they still get paid only for 40 hours. And they are getting treated as consultants. They have lesser medical benefits. They go through a company that takes a small cut or probably a big cut. We don't know. So all these things are there. Where do you want to start? Who do you want to start blaming here? You want to take aim at Google and Alphabet and Meta and Microsoft? Well, there is another bigger news coming down the pipeline. I'll say that at the end. Just I'm trying to say, where is this anger coming from? This anger is coming from perhaps that you feel that they are taking away your job. But are they really doing that? Would you do the kind of work that they do? Let's say there is a version of software that needs to be ported and tested on a language that gives 1% of the revenue, say Portuguese. Would you be willing to take the testing for that, write Python scripts, make sure that no verse of English creeps into the Portuguese version of a particular software, say Microsoft Word? I'm just giving you an example. And what happens if there are different types of Portuguese? The Portuguese spoken in Portugal could be different from the Portuguese spoken in Brazil. Are you willing to take up the kind of job and do that thing? And this is like laborious work. We don't. In America, we don't do that. So you don't want to take this job and you are taking aim at people who are willing to do this thing for lower salary and for working long hours. I mean, and it adds to your bottom line because you own Microsoft stock. I mean, just apply your head to think before you start writing things like this. Here is another guy, Ray Eagle. He is replying to this rant here. He says, they got to go. Americans can make so much more money and live better life if they all go. It's our country. We should all live good lives. You know, as part of your mutual fund portfolio or anything else, today most of us own Magnificent 7 stocks. It's not that I'm taking aim at them. I'm just telling you the realities of life. Somebody is essentially giving you a benefit of, they're subsidizing you for your lifestyle because they are willing to work and do these kind of jobs which pay far less and demand far more hours. And then this guy is even more grumpy Texan. Cancel their green cards, revoke their kids' citizenship, and send them all home until we can put proper controls in place and bring over the most intelligent and limit their rise into management. 1 in 3 startups in the Silicon Valley are run by Indian Americans. Okay, and these things provide a lot of jobs. Also, some of the H-1Bs, they work for 5-10 years in the United States. I'm asking you a question here, okay? When they are working, they are on the payroll, they pay their part of the Social Security Administration, 7.1% up until a certain ceiling. I think it's now $165,000 a year or something like that. I'm just giving you a philosophy. Don't get me on the numbers and say, no, it is 180 or 150. It doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is something beyond that. What happens to all their Social Security accumulated money that will be sitting in SSA when they go back to India, after 6 years, 10 years of work in United States? Does the United States repatriate that money and saying, okay, thank you very much, you're no longer going to be working in the United States? No, there is no provision for that. And what about all the money they may be paying in their 401k program? What happens to that money? Have you thought about that? Most of the time, what I know is once an H-1B deems that he can't find or he or she can't find employment in the US, they just go back to their native country. And all the money that they paid into the system is gobbled up by who? You and I. I mean, think this thing through before you make these kinds of utterances like revoke their kids' citizenship and send them all home. Look, you are in Texas. You are seeing so many illegals come in. Have you done anything about it? Or can you do anything about it? The thing is, there are so many problems afflicting in America. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the person who's willing to do some job that you are yourself not willing to accept. And look at this person, 𝗍𝗲𝗏. There are tons of Indians in his administration. This is Trump's administration. He likes them more than people that look like you, but you still support him. God damn it, these people have really risen through the ranks and become exceptional. In fact, I remember one conversation when Vivek was running for president. Somebody deep south, a reporter, she said that I won't vote for you because you are a Hindu. Really? And Vivek's retort was, amazing. He said, look, I'm not running for the Pope of America. I'm running for the President of America. That said a lot. I hope the other person understood the message, and I hope you understand this thing. America is what it is today at the apex of all the countries because of meritocracy. The founding fathers all set down these guidelines, said that we will only do well if we place merit, ability above other things. You can say today you are the new migrants, but you yourself may not be you, maybe your father, grandfather, great-grandfather, however many generations you want to go back, you was an immigrant. So essentially, America is a country of immigrants. Ranting and raving about it does not help. And you have to also retrain yourself to the new jobs. And if somebody else is willing to do that retraining himself or herself, they are going to get the jobs. Why don't you, instead of ranting on social media, go and see what kind of training you can get to get the new jobs. They are paying well. Here is another one, base reasoning. Just hard work, bro. Raise your kids instead of abandoning them, and don't steal. you will be fine. Stop worrying about the H-1B visa. You wouldn't have gotten that job anyways. See, this is a more reasonable response to what is happening in America. And there is also a culture that we have imbibed since 1970s, I should say, that also has a problem, that also is related to this. I'll come to that in just a moment. So two things I need to tell you more: our culture in America, and also what is happening to some of the Mag 7 companies. Okay, 𝗏𝗡𝗙𝗪, this is from India, I think. He says, let us stop students from any nation so your people get education and work there. Deport every foreign worker ASAP. I think this is more out of rhetorical than anything else. So see, I want people to just take a step back and understand how the corporate economics works. I told you about this revenue per employee. That's just a small drop in the ocean. There are many other things where price arbitrage is the key factor in trying to drive business. I told you there are two things I'm going to say. First of all, the culture. What has happened is, since 1960s or 70s, the United States enjoyed amazing prosperity from 1945 to 1970, maybe late 60s to 70. And the reason for that was that Europe was flattened, Japan was flattened, and these were the countries that could have given it a run for the money, but they were flattened and they had to rebuild. And that rebuild meant that a lot of money had to be spent, and they would take anything that the country that was still left standing would produce. And the Cold War had started as soon as Second World War ended. So Russia was being shunned, or I should say USSR was shunned. So from 45 to 1970, whatever it is that United States would manufacture, these countries were willing to buy. And then, because Germany and Japan and UK and France, they were all established societies, they could recharge and come back up quickly. And that took 20-25 years. So by mid-70s, what you saw, there was an oil crisis, and then suddenly Japan flooded America with smaller, cheaper, more fuel-efficient cars. Suddenly, you used to have boats at that time. Cars were as big as boats. And those were giving like 8 miles to a gallon, and you got a Toyota that gave you 15 miles to a gallon. Today, of course, these cars are around 35, 40, even 45 with hybrids and all that stuff. Okay, so suddenly America switched to better value. Did we complain then? Yes, we did. We said, all Japanese should be driven. Every time there is an adjustment based on costs, this is going to happen. Yes, American car companies went out of business. There was a readjustment that is going on. But let's get back to 1970. What happened was, around the 1970s, they found out that it was not enough if there was only one earning member in a family of 4. They needed the wives to work too. So the women started entering the workforce. And once that happened, your lifestyle could be maintained, but then there had to be other adjustments that had to be made. Men had to take care of some of the chores around the house, sometimes even perhaps cooking meals. And there was an adjustment problem. And what has happened is that once that kind of settled down, maybe in the 80s, then what happened was the companies wanted to sell more fridges, more TVs. The concept of having a unified family of 4, you could only sell one fridge or one TV. Now they wanted you to buy more. What did they do? The ads started promoting individualism, freedom. And by 1980s, mid-late 80s to early 90s, you started seeing our children, I'm also one of this, we started seeing our children leave for college, and then they don't come back and stay with us. They want to go and set up their own house. They want to start living their lives on their own. And sometimes it will be very interesting to note that they would be within 5 miles or 10 miles of their parents' house, but they would not want to come and stay with their parents. It was considered not right. So what happens? Now you had a family of 4, 2 children, husband and wife. That's one set of TVs and fridges. Then the daughter goes out first, starts living on her own. That's another TV set of TV, fridge and whatever, car. Then the son does it. So you see, now suddenly corporate America was very happy, because instead of selling one fridge, one TV, they could sell 3 fridges, 3 TVs and 3 cars to go with it, right? But the problem that happened after that was that if there are layoffs, those of the children who were still finding their feet in the market, they suddenly got burdened with a lot of expenses. Did they come home? No. It is considered as a failure. I mean, I'm telling all the millennials, you parents who are watching it, show it to your children. Let me ask them an honest question. Today, if you lose your job, maybe you'll have savings for 3 months, 6 months. After that, what are you going to do? You have to go back to your parents. Are you willing to do that? You may have a significant other. Will that person be willing to move? So lots of problems, lots of challenges, and this is also leading to frustrations. And then you try to see, okay, who's taking my job? Oh, this guy seems convenient. And I'm very sorry to say, some of the more so-called intellectuals on the right wing, they also take pot shots at Indians, and I don't understand what the Indians have done to any particular people. They put their heads down, they work hard, and like I said, they are subsidizing our luxurious lifestyles. Tip your hat to them. Say thank you. Yes, there is an adjustment coming down the pipeline. I completely understand that. The jobs, new jobs of H1B are going to be for more highly qualified, and there has been abuse of the H1B system. I'll be the first one to admit that. In fact, I've done videos on that. Those of you who are watching this for the first time, go back and look at H1B. Just search on my channel and you will see what I've listed, many of these things. So point I'm trying to make is, no sense in trying to make somebody the enemy, somebody the target, and take pot shots at him. Very, very unfortunate. You have to look at the totality of what is going on. Take a deep breath. See what is it that you are good at, and try to fashion your life based on your strengths. There was one other very, very crass remark about a temple where Hanuman's statue was installed, and this guy says demon monkey or something of that nature. Look, you don't know about Hinduism. Take some time to understand what Hinduism stands for. It is not as literal as, for example, Bible or Quran. It doesn't tell you, okay, read from the book and you will get all the answers. It's much more deep. And that's why it has survived for so many thousands of years. Hinduism is not the right word in my opinion. It is Sanatana Dharma, which is eternal flow. Something that has been there for a long time, is here and will be there for ages and generations to come. Don't take literal interpretation and say idol worship is wrong. You don't know the philosophy behind that. Until you understand the philosophy, you'll always be just trying to look at something that is in front of you and poke fun at it. I'm hoping to make more videos on this as time permits. So I'm hoping that by your comments, I'll get feedback on what you thought of this video, because this is a little different from what my normal set of videos are. I'm a little pained by looking at all these things, and I'm afraid that if this does not get stopped soon, that some innocent people are going to get hurt very badly. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.